All right. So, good evening, everyone. This is Kiwani Murray, and this is my husband, Mr. Jeff Murray. And we're coming to you today with our mouth muscle with Team Murray. And today we wanted to discuss the roles of a spouse. And I know that some of you were saying that you were going to join into the conversation, you wanted to get in the comments. If I do not get to your question right away, forgive me because I probably can't see it from this distance. You know, this is the first live, so we're kind of learning as we go. But anyway, we're going to get into this conversation because Mr. Murray is not feeling his best, so he's sacrificing some of his time to be here and talk with us about the roles of a spouse. So, if you miss it now, feel free to watch the playback, but we're going to go ahead and move forward in the conversation so that Mr. Murray can go get some rest, okay? So, we're talking about the roles of a spouse. So now, Mr. Murray, do you even believe that there is a such thing? Do you believe that a spouse has a particular role? And when I say the role of a spouse, I'm talking about, I know that we hear sometimes that men are supposed to do a certain thing. They're supposed to pay the bills. They're supposed to be a certain person in the marriage, or they're expected to do certain things in the marriage, and then there are certain things that the women are expected to do in a marriage. Do you believe in that? Do you believe that there's such roles, or do you believe that it just has to be two people that are willing to work together to get to a common goal, regardless of who plays which part? What do you think? What do you feel?
Well, the first thing is, I don't think in this day and age we live in, no one person can do it by themselves. Be it pay bills, raise kids, go to work. That's why it's called a partnership. So I don't think it's one way in 2023 the way it was in 1923. It was expected upon the wife to take care of the house, the husband to go out there and take care of the family. And to a degree it's still that way, but 2023 has caused a lot of shifting to take place where it has to be a 50-50 thing. And to be honest, it probably started back in the late 1980s or 1990s when you had this whole movement of women's lives thing where equal pay for equal sex. And some women took it and ran with it because they didn't understand the word equal. And then when it came, then some men had a problem with women making more money than them. So it depends on, where we are in 2023. It's a partnership. It's not individualistic no more.
Okay. And I would agree with that. Now, I know I forgot to mention that you're an associate minister at the church, and you do.
That doesn't matter.
You're right. It doesn't. However, because you do provide marital counseling in some sets, and then you do give, words of wisdom or encouragement to couples, married couples all the time. I want them to know that part too, because we're not discussing specifically our marriage or our situation, but this is just general knowledge. This is for the sake of people having healthy relationships and not depending on, this role of a man or role of a woman. So this is not, I just want them to know we're not talking about specifically us. We're talking in general. We're talking about roles in marriages in general. Okay, so in that, you brought up women's lib and how women were fighting for equal pay because they were working just as hard outside of the home. And so it caused a whole movement or a shift in the makeup of families and marriages. So now how much of that do you believe, or do you think that men, was there a time or a period when men were falling off? What caused women to start doing more work out of the home, which brought up the whole women's lib movement anyway? What caused that shift? What started this episode of women working outside of the home and doing the same jobs as men and wanting the same pay? Was there some shortage in men? Was there that men were not working? I mean, what caused that shift? In your opinion, what caused that shift?
Like everything else in America, there's always a shifting and an adjustment in times and changes of everything. Women got tired of being walked over by men. Some men were just too dominating. You can't go nowhere, you can't do, you can't spend, you can't. So it just got to the point where little bit by little bit, it stopped being a partnership and it started being individualistic. And you got individuals that was trying to come together to create a oneness. So if I can't go and do what I want, then I'm gonna go ahead and get what I need so I can do what I need to do, whether it's good or bad. And so once a woman got taste of that, it become infectious and she wanted more of it. So before you know it, you had, and you probably still do have, women that made more, earned more, and in some cases, job descriptions start to play the role. If I'm at home cooking and I'm cleaning, you pay somebody to cook and clean, how much do they get? Whereas I'm not getting nothing, but a bunch of backlash and bad mouthing and complaining about this. So let me just go out here and do what you do and bring home, and let's see if you like, somebody telling you what to do. So it was a paradigm shift that some adjusted to and some didn't.
Okay. Okay, so that was good feedback. Okay, so now, when women started moving outside of the home and wives are now working, the husband is also working. Now the question becomes, if we're both outside of the home for many hours of the day and we're working, and say they make equal pay, we're gonna just use equal pay as an example. We're not gonna say one makes more than the other. We're just gonna say they make equal pay. They're making equal pay. So now when we return to the home where the house now needs attention, there are children who need to be cared for, there are things around the house that need to be done, or around the home that need to be done. Bills have to be paid, cleaning has to be done, food has to be cooked. Just those things that need to be taken care of at home that we did not do. You didn't do, the husband, I'm not saying you in particular, but the husband didn't do it because he was at work, and the wife didn't do it because she's at work. Now, whose responsibility is it to get those things done when they both return home after a hard day's work? Is it because we know that society has always, because women were at home initially, that just became the norm, that she can work outside the home and still come home, and she's still gonna cook dinner, she's still gonna care for the kids, she's still gonna do the things that need to be done around the home, and the husband or the spouse now gets to rest because he's worked hard all day. So now, how would you say it should be handled when both parents or both spouses are working outside of the home, but when we come home, there are these things to do at home now? Whose responsibility is that? Is that anybody's role to get it done, or are we partnering to get it done?
It's the Bible.
What does the Bible say?
The Bible says where there's no vision, the people perish, which means you gotta have a game plan. And that's not to say one has to outdo the other. If my strength is not cooking, but I'm gonna make sure we eat, and if I have this week that I have to, provide food, then it's my week. You just gotta make sure you come up, that's why it's called vision and compromise. You gotta compromise in the vision, which you have a vision, to say, this week we're gonna cook, next week it's gonna be on you to cook. I may get in there and try to do something, or, if the kids are involved, then the kids can come in and help out. It's got to be a partnership, because the things, like I said, in 1923 was one way, but I ain't cooking now. I can tell you that now. That's I just went and bought you some salad, so you better eat that salad and close your eyes and think I did cook it.
Well, thank you for bringing me a salad. I appreciate that you brought me a salad. It meant that I didn't have to cook.
And I bought you some Jell-O.
Provided.
I provided.
Thank
so
you for my Jell-O. I love me some Jell-O.
Yeah,
so thank you for my Jell-O. I appreciate
the house
that.
is still standing, so you know I did. We didn't call fire rescue to come put no fires out. But I mean, because me and my brother, ironically, me and my brother was talking one day, and I think I was either living off Allendale or I was in Detroit, one of the two. And so I told him, I said, man, you couldn't make you can cook a bologna sandwich, and you don't just tease me. And then I've also told Janelle this, I would rather you give me a burn up T-bone steak, which you and I saw.
We ain't gonna even talk
You
about
and I
it.
saw her one
We
day
ain't gonna talk about
put
it.
all this grease in this pot. I mean, it was deep. And if she didn't get hot and put all this, I don't think nobody ate that chicken. But the mere fact, the effort was made there, and I would rather throw money away trying that. But you know, you gotta have clarity, and I won't say that's nobody's role. But I mean, even now, you know, some families say we're not gonna eat on Friday. Fridays is our day out. Nobody cooking. You know,
Okay.
that's something they talk about, and you come to an understanding.
Okay, so it's important to communicate. That's what you're saying. At the end of the day, whoever's responsible for doing it, we have to have communicated that. We need to understand whose day, if it means creating a schedule to say it's gonna be your days on this day and this day, and then it will be my days on this day and this day. But we need to communicate what the expectation is for who's gonna take care of.
It's gonna be your day every day, cause
My day every day? No, I don't think that's gonna work. It can't be my day every day. No, absolutely
I
not.
go to a job every day, so it has to be.
Okay, anyway. So, now, here's my other question from,
Yeah,
because we talking about, we need to make sure people understand how this marriage thing works, like how two people, you gotta remember that marriage is not two people just together. Marriage is two people who become one person or who operate as one, as a unit. So it's important that we make sure people understand there are no, and I didn't answer the question, but my answer would be there are no roles. What we need to do is just make a decision about what works best for our family. So I would not say that there's this expectation that you're the man and you have to do A, B, and C because you're the man. No, whatever works for our family, whatever's gonna get the job done, whatever, if the goal is to do A, whatever you and I decide needs to be done to get to A, that works for me. I don't feel like we have roles, you know, per se, that are.
I beg to differ only slightly, because I think there's some things that women shouldn't do, that a man should do. Like yesterday when I was tugging that what was that thing I was pulling? That generator.
Mhm.
Even though I needed some help, I didn't expect you to come on out there, because that thing is heavy. There's no way you would be able to pull that.
But I did offer to help
You
because I
offered.
did not
Yeah.
feel like it was just your
But
job
no,
to
but my
do.
point is, it was my job because there's no way a woman should be out there tugging at that thing. It's just, something. So now when it comes to coordinating some things, I'm not gonna say I'm the best coordinator. Now, if it comes to my dress, which you don't like some of the stuff that I got, but when it comes to me getting casket sharp, I can do that. I don't need no help, doing that.
Okay, but you
But,
do
I mean, there's
listen when
some-
I say, babe, that I don't know, I try to help you.
Yeah, but I'm just using, and that's a far stretch. Some things, and some stuff you're just gonna be old fashioned about. I don't think no woman should take out the garbage. I mean, that's not a role. It's just, I just don't. You can get the garbage together in the house and collect it, but I just don't think you should walk outside with the garbage when you got a man in the house and you got kids. That's just the old school. And then I can't even say that's my daddy, because my daddy was dead. That's just something I just picked up on as a way of life. That don't make it right or wrong. It's just a way of life. You ain't got nobody on your listen.
That's okay, because they're gonna watch it in the playback. It was supposed to be 6:30, but you made me do it early because you say you didn't feel good, so it's not even time yet.
Yeah, I'm
So-
sorry, I'm not feeling well.
So anyway, but they'll watch the playback, don't worry. There'll be comments and they'll tell me how they feel about it. Now, the other thing too, let's go, for example, I'm gonna just give you an example of a situation. Since we were talking about women's lib and we were talking about equal pay for equal work and whatever. So now, if for example, because there are some men who, like, and you mentioned it, you said it first, there are some men who struggle with women making more money than they do. However, we know that in this day and age, that's just a sign of the time. There are women who have stepped outside of the home to work. They've gotten the degrees. They, you know, moved up the ladder, and they're now, you know, in a whole nother tax bracket per se, you know, for lack of better words. And they may make more money than their spouse. And there are men who have an issue with that. So how do you feel the finances should be handled in a home where the female makes more money? Because, you know, before it was the man was the provider, he paid the bills. That, we're talking old school, that was the way it was, and that was why women stayed home, because men had the job of providing for their family. But now that's not always the case, and because it had been like that for so many years, there are men who struggle with a woman who makes more money than he does. So how do you think finances should be handled in a marriage period? Just give me how you feel it should be handled in a marriage period, but more so for the sake of explaining how to handle it when a woman makes more money than her spouse.
Maturity. I mean, sometimes it's the lack of maturity that makes the difference. You know, me personally, I don't have a problem if you made more money than me or less than me. I didn't get married because of money. So money is not, you know, my goal, or shouldn't be the goal. So whether you make more or less, it doesn't matter. You know, as long as at the end of the day, we can say we contributed to taking care of the main thing, which is that the bills. So be it. Now, I will say, in the aftermath, if we make sure we take care of the main thing, which is the bills, and you decide that you want to give yourself a bonus, you know, that's on you. But trust me, when that bonus runs out, don't come back talking about can you get a 2% loan?
No.
With that, you know, especially when you're making more than me, you know. But I mean, it doesn't. Money, you got to guess the love of money is the root of all evil. And I don't have a problem if the kids, if Jay, Isaiah, or Janelle came home and they all said they making $125,000, I ain't gonna be mad. I'm just asking when can they pay us back for all our money. You know, but I don't have. I never look at money as
Okay.
the issue whether
So-
she make more money or less.
Okay, so now answer this question for the people who, because you know this is an age-old argument. Who should be paying the bills? Who
Both.
is it? Okay, so you feel like both people should pay bills. It should not be
Yeah,
the
'cause both
spouse, the man, the husband is gonna pay all the bills,
It's
and
not-
she just gets to,
it's
the
not-
wife gets to pocket her money, or,
It's not 1923 no more. Them
Okay.
days are over with, because you know and I know, even today, 2023, it's impossible.
don't say impossible, just very difficult.
Same thing. I mean, when you boil it down to, for one income to sustain anything in this world, you know, it's just, you gotta go get a job and a half just to make it. So I don't think it should be a person that handles everything, because at the end of the day, she eats just like he eats. Somebody got to pay their grocery bill. She used water just like he used water. Somebody got to pay their water bill. It's just got to be a coming together to make it, you know, find out what works, and make sure everything works together. It's just coming together to make a plan. But no, in my opinion, no one person should be just taking all of the bills while the other person, you know, gives the illusion that they don't have to pay or share in the bills. But it takes two. Just like I would say the same thing, if I was not working and you was working, I shouldn't just sit up here and feel like, okay, you're gonna pay all the bills. I need to go out there, I don't care if it's work at Wendy's, contribute to the bill structure of the house to help, you know, show that I'm putting forth the effort to ease some of that financial strain. The bills and the lack of money can put a chokehold on you physically as well as emotionally. Because sometimes, you know, people walk the floor because they worried about how stuff is gonna get done or paid.
Right. And we know that money can kill a marriage too. There are
Well, you
people
just
who
kill a person,
all
period.
out about money.
People die, commit suicide because of money. People
Right.
buried in the grave right now because bills and just money, period. So it's
Okay.
it's a 50-50 split.
Okay.
It ain't 1920.
Well, everybody has to give their 100% of effort. So I got to give my 100% of effort, whatever that is, and then you have to give your 100% of effort, whatever that is, because we be saying 50-50, and I've heard that, and it's, you know, it's been around a long time, that old, you know, the cliche, oh, everybody, if you do your 50, I do my 50, but it's really both people
It still can
giving
be
100% of their effort.
It still can be 50-50. It's just the definition of 50-50. You know, how you define 50-50 or how you define 100%. You know, again, let's just use for example, that the overall bills for this house will say $3,000. My 50% is coming up with $1,500 to $1,700. I'm always gonna have to give a little extra. And then your job is to come up with your 30, so that's your 50%. And then in the reality, that's your 100%, but it's just 50%.
Right.
So,
So, because again, using that same example, what if I don't make enough money to give you that number, half? As long as I give 100% of my effort to contribute whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, then I think that's, so we're on the same page. I think we agree, we're just saying it different. I don't, when I hear 50-50, it kind of makes me feel like some people may not be doing their best. You know, they just don't, you know, that even with the kids. You can have kids and in school, as long as they get a C, they feel like, hey, I did enough. That's not enough when you can get an A. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't give me your 50 if you can give 100. Don't give me your 50 if you can do 90. Just give me 100% of your effort, whatever that is that you can do. So that's the way I was looking at that, but okay. So now let's talk about the way that spouses handle disagreements. Because of course we know that we're all human, none of us are perfect, and we don't always agree. There are things that come up in marriages where partners do not necessarily agree. They may have the same intent. In the end, the goal may be the same, but they may not even agree on how to get to that goal. Or there just may be things that we just basically disagree on. You might think red and I might think blue. How do we get past the impasse? In other words, how do we get to the point where we can either agree to disagree, or how do we fix it? How should spouses fix disagreements?
disagreement's gonna happen. It's inevitable. Anything that grows, it changes, and when it changes, it expands. Sometimes you just gotta learn. We have to learn the art of listening. Hear more and say less. I know I have to continue to, perfect that. Hear more and say less. Not that my way is right, even though right now it's sunny outside and you may swear it's snowing. And so I'm just saying, this lady crazy. You see it's sunny, but you swear me down it's snowing. So I just have to learn this, because it's a couple of things. Something could have clicked in your head mentally to make you really think it's snowing, or you just may be that delusional, or just, as my mama would say, you just that cantankerous that you want to just pick argument. And then so now you have to ask the question, why? What did I do? What did I do to cause this situation? So it's just about a matter of being mature and listening, and slow to respond. And then you can respond with softness versus, being all harsh and just jumping on a person. Because now when you respond and I respond, and I gotta yell, you gotta yell, I gotta, before you know it, nobody listening. Nobody listening.
Right.
It's all defeated. So,
I'm practicing.
So you just gotta learn to listen more, and respond less. And then, for me, and it's a growth tool, because I'm getting into what did I do, or what could I have done or said different to possibly avoid this. And sometimes there's nothing you can't do. you're gonna believe it's snowing outside. And so I'm gonna just have to let you believe that it's snowing outside until you, when you walk out there and we can talk about it. Hey, Wally, did you see any snow? I mean, did you feel it? What, I mean, maybe I missed something. And just probably have a conversation about it. You're not gonna fix every problem, but the other thing that you can do, and I'm learning to do, is pray. I don't pray on nobody. I pray that Lord will help me to navigate through this with a level of maturity and a level head to see whatever it is I don't see, so I can, be a better me in response to this. So it's just a matter of praying and just, and then the other thing you've got to do is surround yourself with positive people that's going to be true to you and not no yes people. I got a couple of friends, and I'm not gonna get into calling names, but you know who they are. Them niggas gonna hold my feet to the fire, and if I'm wrong, they gonna put me in the locker room and tell me I was wrong, and you need that, because you're not always right. I'm not always right, and I don't want to always be right.
Right. Okay, but what about specific strategies? Do you have a specific strategy or something specific that you do? Because
you just hear me?
Well, right, but what I'm saying, okay, for me, for example, like with you and I, now we are talking about us. You and I, when we disagree, there are some times when I feel like in order for me to get to the place where I can effectively hear my husband and try to understand what he's saying, even though I don't agree with it, it means I need to go somewhere and sit down and just be quiet and just think about it. Like, let me simmer on it for a minute, because like you said, if we're not listening, if I'm talking and I'm trying to get my point across, then I'm really not hearing you. So when I finally do say, okay, let him talk, let me listen to what he's saying, even though I don't agree. At that moment, I might say, okay, I'm gonna have to table this. I need to go sit down somewhere and just think about it, because I don't agree with that. And I don't want to keep going back and forth with him. So let me go, we're gonna go to our mutual corners. Let me go and sit down somewhere and just be quiet and think and pray. And then when I have gotten to the place where I can halfway understand what you said, or I found a way to kind of come to meet you halfway, then we can discuss it again. But sometimes you don't give me that. Sometimes you want to talk about it right now, or when I decide I'm going to be quiet, you feel like I'm shutting you out, or I'm acting as if whatever we're disagreeing about is not important. Oh, now you don't want to talk. Now like it's as if you don't understand my need. That's a need for me to go sit and be quiet and just think it through, as opposed to keep going back and forth.
And that may work for you. That may work for you. I was in an interview session, and one of the questions they asked was, how do you handle disagreements when you got some disgruntled employees that just, they just don't want to do right. And the one thing and I think it applies both corporate and at home, is you got to learn to listen. I have to hear what you have to say and try to show you or incorporate with what you say, just try to show you that there may be a different way. We can look at it your way, but agree to look at it this way, and sometimes just let it wear itself out, and sometimes it'll tell you, or sometimes for me, what I do, like I said, we were doing this when the fellas would get together. And sometimes when we got together just to go hang out, just to be fellas, we didn't talk about much of nothing. We just was able to go away, and it allowed, like you said, a cool-off period, so to speak, or allowed a thinking session so you could think about some stuff. And then you sit there and say, oh, it wasn't that serious. We blew that stuff way out of proportion. It ain't, who cares who ate the last piece of cornbread? It just ain't that serious. We go make some more.
Right.
So,
but everybody doesn't have that though. See, you
are
fortunate enough to have that, and I'm fortunate enough to have that.
But that's what you have to create, because again, say 1923, it's 2023. You got a lot more against you than you do for you. TV, commercials, people, COVID, drugs, jobs. You have so much stuff against you. Okay. So you got to be able to handle, this is where people talk about a village, and we normally relate the village to just kids. But no, you need village, even as adults, that can help you and hold you and be there for you. Not some people, I ain't talking about just gonna tell your business to everybody, cause everybody don't need no good.
Right.
But you
right.
get, you got that core two, I wouldn't say past three. If it's three, that's good, but you got that one or two people that you can go and just be you, and sometimes talk about it, sometimes don't talk about it. Sometimes they know, something's wrong, and just let you be you. If you wanna cry, they don't judge you. I know they talk about Planet Fitness was it judge free? What is it?
Yeah, judge-free zone.
Yeah, you gotta have those people that are judge free.
Mhm.
That's gonna, they ain't gonna, and when they wanna tell you about yourself,
You should
be mature enough to listen.
Okay. All right. This stuff now. Okay.
Now, can I
How
get,
about, no, because we still talking. Wait, listen. Okay, now this one. Okay, what about the roles as disciplinarians, or we're talking about children. So we have this wonderful blended family, you and I. And there are lots of blended families. That's more common now than ever before. So when you're talking about, and again, we're going back to roles, is there a role specifically lined up with what a dad or a husband should be doing when it comes to dealing with the children? And is there a specific role for the wife or the mom? Or do you believe that it's important to provide balance? Like, for example, with us, with most spouses, one of them is usually a little tough and the other one is usually a little more lenient. So the kids, when they know that, will manipulate the situations based on what their desired outcome is. They know when to go to one parent as opposed to the other. Is there a role in that, or do you feel like both parents, do you think parents should always be on the same page, or should there be some a little bit more, one that's a little bit more aggressive or tough on the kids, and one a little bit more lenient, so that it provides balance? Like, what are the roles when it comes to parenting the children? Are there any roles, or are we just gonna parent this thing and it is what it is?
I think it's gonna be on the job training, because everything is different. You got a lot of variables when it comes to the kids, i.e. their previous situation. Where's their mom and dad and whoever grandparent that raised them. Then in some cases, I've always had this belief, daddies were closer to daughters as mothers were closer to sons. And I say that because my mom was my everything. That was my bread and butter. We had a stepdad for a minute, but I felt like he didn't like me at all, and I didn't like him. So, me and my brother jumped.
Really?
Oh yeah, we beat the stew out.
See, man, I didn't never know you felt that way. I didn't never know that. That's the first time I'm hearing that you felt like your stepfather didn't like you.
Yeah, I didn't. I ain't like him. I hope he looking. Man, Luther Power. I still don't like him.
Listen, that's not nice.
I mean, I love you because I gotta get to heaven. But I just think it was just that, and even now, I've reached, and it's just me. I hate kids, but God loves me so much that He put me with kids. And so what I had to learn to do is I have to learn to listen to kids. And listening to them, sometimes you will understand they say things without saying. They do things without really meaning to do it. So to answer your question, for me, I just think the toughness with me is they don't want to. It should be built up to they don't want to disappoint, because they know. Number one, I'm gonna go to bat for them. Okay. Number two, I'm gonna be there. If they need me, as long as you do what's right, I'm gonna try to give you. I'm always have a listening ear. I will always listen to you. I will always sit down and say, let's talk about this and see how we can work through this. And sometimes it works because that's what they just need. Sometimes they just need somebody to talk to. And if you've got both parents that's always, then who do they turn to? And now, in my opinion, that's when they turn to the streets. And when they turn to the streets,
Both
you know,
parents are
always,
rah-rah
yeah,
and
yeah.
tough on them.
Yeah, I mean, not to say they don't need the toughness. That's not what I'm saying. But they also need an out. Okay, what is your out? Who can you talk to? Can I, like I said, I got friends that hold me accountable. If I'm wrong, they're gonna tell me I'm wrong. If the kid wrong, I'm gonna tell you you're wrong. But I have to let them know, first of all, I'm here not to hurt you. I'm here to, because I want you to be better than me. If whatever you think of me, if you think I'm okay, then I want you to be better than okay. If you think I'm cool, I want you to be great. So I'm gonna talk to you and see how I can help you as best as I humanly possibly can.
Well, I think that it is absolutely important that as parents we provide balance for our children. I do believe that when we're standing in front of the children and there's a discussion going on, or the kids are coming to us about something, then as parents we do need to be on the same page in terms of whatever our response to their request is going to be. But I do believe they need balance. If one parent is tough, then there should be some leniency somewhere else, so that they don't just see rah 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 or tough tough tough. And as a parent, I'm glad that you and I are different in that manner, because it has allowed me to see parenting from a different light. I see where the boys are. I'm glad that they have you to talk to, whereas with me, they kind of are a little bit more fearful of coming to me, because I'm usually tough on them, and I see where that has, how that has affected them, now as they're adulting. So I'm glad that we're able to provide that balance. So that's a good thing. Now, did your relationship with your stepfather affect how you would be as a stepdad? Because you're a stepdad to the boys. Do you think that the way that you are as a stepdad, does any of that come from how you felt about your stepfather? Because I've never heard you say anything about not, having a tough time.
When he left my mama, he took everything. I mean, when we came home, the house was naked. We had nothing. I don't even think we had a plate.
Wow.
I mean, he just wiped out everything. So,
Listen, this is my first time hearing this story.
Yeah, you can ask Rondell.
Wow.
He took everything, and
Okay, so that would make me, I would feel some type of way about that.
yeah. So I mean,
and it goes back to the expectation.
I mean,
you're a man.
Yeah,
why would you leave a mom
He left
with boys with nothing? Why? What kind of man does that?
In the winter, where it was definitely cold.
Wow.
My brother is a stepfather.
Right.
He the jury is still out.
Okay.
Talking about DeAndre. DeAndre is not, but he been knowing DeAndre since DeAndre was about this big.
Right.
So he's still,
Okay.
So we don't. I won't know the fullness of me being a husband, a stepdad, or dad, unfortunately, until I'm laying in the casket and I gotta listen to the reflex of the comments.
Hopefully your dash.
Yeah, it'll be a little longer. I mean, so the jury's out,
Okay.
and all I try to do, and this is my everyday, is just to be fair.
Okay.
Like I said, I believe just daddies belong with daughters, just as mothers get along with sons.
I don't know about that, but okay.
No, I'm just talking
that's your thing. I don't know about that, because
I mean, because even if I look at my brother, I look at my brother, and he gets along with Ebony, and RJ is his son, his biological son.
Right.
But him and Ebony got a better bond than RJ, and both of them are great kids, So I got.
Right.
I mean, if I go to my sister Tammy, she get along with Adam better than Arissa, and her and Arissa are like.
I don't know.
I don't know. So it just.
I love them all.
I mean, you love them all. It just.
I don't know if I have a different bond with a.
It just
if opposed to a daughter, I think me and my daughter would be like, ooh. Our boys would be out of gas.
I mean, that now, but see, even, and I'm gonna use like with Janelle when she was growing up, we went on dates to the point where she would get dressed up to go on the date because I told her this is how this nigga better treat you. That's the word I use, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take Isaiah or Jay on no date.
Right. Right.
You know, I can sit here and talk. Look, man, you make sure you do this and that. But with her, it was more so on the job visual training.
Right.
So that's I'm saying, guys are a little.
Yeah,
Guys are a
I
little,
understand your point. I
a little,
understand
a little knockheaded.
I understand it.
You know, and girls, you know, sometimes you just give them that look and then they melt. They start crying. You know, with boys, they're a little more challenging, a little bit to say, nah, you know. But
I get
that's
it.
why
I
when my
get
mama was born, I mean, my mama was living, we be in church, mama didn't have to say nothing. She looked across the pool, the sanctuary, give me that look. Nigga, I just got slapped.
Okay, I get it. Okay. So now.
Now, what do you mean?
Yeah, yes. Okay. Love languages. How important is it to know your spouse's love language? Do you believe in love languages? First of all, do you believe we all have one? Do you believe that your spouse has a love language? And how important is it to know it if you believe they have one? How does it affect your roles as spouses or your interaction as spouses when you are dealing with your spouse's love language? Do you know my love language? What's my love language? Let me
Trips.
see if you know. Yes, is that a love language? I don't think trips are a love language.
That's a new one that's been added.
They added that one. Okay, they added that one. But now, if you
Love
had to
language-
say what my love language really was, what would you say was my love language?
What are the choices? Acts of kindness,
Acts of kindness, words of affirmation,
physical touch.
physical touch, right? And there are two more.
I think yours is physical touch and acts of kindness.
Physical touch and acts of kindness. Okay.
But do I believe that, you know, nowadays, because again, it's not 1923.
Mm-hmm.
1923, you didn't have love languages.
I think we did. We just didn't call it that,
but
you
that's
know.
my-
But we
that's
had
my-
them.
But that's my point. We categorize it now because of the evolution of relationships and marriage. I just believe in this me. It's just Jeff. If you do right, you love your wife, you love your family, and you pray for your family, and you do what you can for your family, with your family, while you have your family, you will cover all gamuts of it. I don't think you should have just one specific one. If I come in, which I probably have to do a better job at admitting it, to say, hey, I love you, or you're looking good today, or that's a nice, but I'm covering everything, you know. So there's some room for growth for me, but I can cover all languages by doing more than what it is. I don't want to relegate it. It's just me. I don't want to relegate it to just one set. And that's because it's in the book. And I'm not knocking the book. It's a wonderful book. I use it. I go by it. But I'm just saying, as men, as this man,
but
if I do more, then I wouldn't have to.
But
I don't have to
listen,
worry about a language.
But listen, there are, and I disagree with that, because there are some people who need, their desire is to have, for example, if my desire is to have physical touch, if that is my love language, if I need you to show me that you love me through physical touch, if that is it gets me, you know, and you're doing the other four and not that one, you could be a wonderful provider. Your acts of service or whatever, of kindness, you can overflow in those. You can really.
But did you hear what I said?
I understand
if
what
I
you're
do
saying.
all, then
But
I won't leave nothing
But
untouched.
I may not want. You may be doing something for me that I really don't care for you to be doing, because I'd rather you be giving me your physical touch. And I'm just using us as this is an example. If I'm saying to you, I don't want you to buy me things, and I'm just saying in general because I like for you to buy me
I ain't
things.
buying you nothing else.
But if a person was saying, I don't want you to buy me things. Your acts of kindness, I don't need that. I don't want you to do that for me. I don't want that. What I need you to do for me, because this is how you show me you love me, is I need your physical touch. I need you to kiss me, embrace me, hug me. Then if you keep buying the person things, or if you keep showing acts of kindness, if you keep going and washing their car, if you keep going and buying them new perfumes, if you keep taking them shopping and on trips and whatever, and you're not providing any physical touch, that's a problem.
But hear what I said. If I just do cover all those areas. If you cover all
But
those
we're not
areas,
talking about you. We're saying,
I'm just saying.
the question
Yeah,
was,
yeah. No,
do
I'm
you
saying.
believe that there is a need to know your partner's love language and to act on it? Is there a need? Do you believe in? Because see, you're saying your answer is, I'm gonna just cover all the bases. I'm gonna provide all the love languages, so my spouse ain't gonna miss out on nothing. I'm gonna just do it all. But do you believe that there is a need to know your spouse's specific love language and to make sure that you act on it? Do you believe that?
I mean, yeah, but again, I'm still gonna be stuck on the answer of you can have that one, but I don't want to neglect the other four, so I'm gonna do all five.
But
I'm
we're
gonna.
not talking about you.
Who was that?
We're talking about, that's my mama calling. I'll call her back. But we're not talking
No, I'm
about
saying
you.
in
You're
general,
saying,
me and
okay.
me
So
and
you're
the
saying
yeah.
in general, if a person
Because
just covers all of
yeah,
them,
because you got to remember
then it would be okay.
some men, some people haven't been introduced to this whole love language phenomenon, so they don't know what a love language phenomenon. They don't know what.
Right.
But so once you get introduced to it, then you can say, well, I was doing this. Oh, I need to go back and do more of that. I can try this, and so if I make sure I cover all of them because it's something new to them. Some of them know, some of them don't know because they haven't been, you know, they haven't been introduced to a lot of stuff. So, and I don't don't profess to know it all because I don't. This thing is on the job training for me every day. So,
Okay, well, I agree. Now, how
again,
important is a date night? How important is a date night? How do you keep the fire burning in your relationship? What's your role as a husband? How would you keep the fire burning? My role as a wife, how do we keep the fire burning? Are there any expectations of a wife
I expect you
to
to
keep the fire burning,
I
to
expect
make
you
sure
to
that the intimacy is there? Are date nights important? Are you,
I expect you to cancel a few of these trips.
I don't know about that.
I
I don't know about that. You need to come on go. You need to pack your suitcases and come on go.
I don't have a problem with
Okay,
date nights.
okay.
I just have a problem sometimes when the expectation is that I have to plan them all. Because for me, well, I ain't gonna say men. Me, I'm simple. I can sit outside right there on my back patio and play music and be just as happy and content and call that a date night. You'll probably be like, nah, I don't want to do that. Or I can go to Dave and Buster's, which you ain't took me there yet. To just eat and play games. I'm bubbling joy with that. I'm okay with that. I'm for the most part I think men are more simple than women. Women y'all gotta, and that's fine. I'm not knocking nobody that do. I don't want to sound like it's a negative because that lets us know y'all look forward to it because y'all want to get all dolled up and prettied up and put makeup on and y'all want to go, and that's great. I enjoy it because I see a smile on your face, and as long as I can see you smiling, then I'm smiling because that means you're happy, so I'm happy. So I have no qualms with that. So to answer, I don't have a problem with date night. I don't. Sometimes I'd rather just recently we went to the movies, which was we ain't been to movies.
Yeah, that's
in
too
a minute.
expensive.
Yeah,
Man, we need to stream that thing,
but I was trying to find it the other day. This morning I was trying to find it, but I enjoyed that. Just
okay. How important is intimacy to you, though?
it's important.
Intimacy isn't. We know, and we do know that intimacy is not just sex. Intimacy can be. It's just how we feel when we're in each other's presence. It's about the energy. It's about a cuddle. It's about a kiss. It's about public displays of affection. It's intimacy can be. It's a look. Sometimes I look in your eyes, and I've always told you you had the cutest little lashes. I don't know where you get those, but you have the cutest little
My
lashes. And
mama.
sometimes I can look in your eyes, and there's this look. There's an exchange of intimacy. So
I got from my mama.
intimacy is very important. We have to make sure. So, are there any deal breakers for you? Like, is there anything that is just a flat out deal breaker? I don't care how much you say you sorry. I don't want to hear it. It's a deal breaker.
Um, yeah. Um, physical abuse to a kid.
Physical abuse to a kid. So I can physically abuse you. I can beat you up.
Oh no, you ain't gonna make it.
I wouldn't make it. So if you were in a situation where there was physical abuse to a child, that's a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They're innocent. I don't like to see a kid, especially in this day and age, get touched or physical, emotional, neglectful of the elderly.
Okay.
Can't take advantage of the kids. Killing somebody or shooting somebody or anything that's gonna break the law. I will turn you into the police. I love you. I will turn you in to the police and
Oh gosh.
and just deal with it. I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
it sounds joking, but I just can't harbor a fugitive or just and you can't say that you with me, but you don't love the Lord.
Okay.
You can't, how can two walk together unless they agree? If you don't agree that, God is important, then we got a problem.
Okay.
We got a problem.
I used to think I had a deal breaker. I used to think I did. But I'm starting to believe the more I study, the more I am trying to be closer to God and walk in His likeness. I'm nowhere near it, but I try every day. I'm starting to feel like, when people say love covers a multitude of sins or that love conquers everything, I'm really starting to believe that. But I think you have to really love. It cannot be, a lot of times we think we're in love or we call it love when it really isn't. You have to know the depths of what love is, the kind of love that Christ has for us. It is not easy. It's not easy. It's not to say that to forgive somebody is easy or to just allow people. Now, I ain't gonna let you just walk all over me. Now, if you continue to do some things over and over and over, at some point, I'm gonna get to the to you're gonna hit the limit or you're gonna cross the line, and that's gonna be it for me. But I don't know if there's any one situation that I can just outright say is a deal breaker for me. I'm trying to learn how to forgive people earnestly and just be a better person, because the same grace that God extends to me every day, I try to extend it to others. So I don't know if I would say I had a deal breaker, but I do want to say to you, first of all, thank you for having this couch talk with me. I know you're not feeling your best and you really are putting on your best face and trying to have the conversation. Thank you for sharing what your input as far as roles are concerned or whatever the expectations of a spouse. I just want to say to you, I did go into our situation with expectations or what your thinking what your role was going to be for me. One of the things that attracted me to you or made me feel like this was the husband for me was how you made me feel so protected, and I've told you that on more than one occasion, how I feel so protected when I'm with you. And that was something that I looked for in a spouse. Like that was a role, or that was one of the things that I expected of a spouse, that he had to make me feel protected. I needed to feel safe. And that's not to say that nothing can happen to me because I'm with you. Things can still happen. We live in a world that's just full of, atrocities. But I do feel my safest when I'm with you. I feel protected. I feel like if anything could happen and you could stop it from happening, you would. I feel like when I'm, I sleep better because I know that at night you are walking the floor and you are praying and you are making sure the door is locked and you are, doing those things. I feel like, I can ride in the car and you can drive. I feel like when you're driving, I don't have to worry about it. And that's like I said, it's not to say that nothing can happen, but there's just something about being in your presence that makes me feel protected. That was one of the things that I fell in love with about you. I did not have that growing up, and so it became very, very, very important to me that I had to be in a relationship. My husband had to be somebody who made me feel protected. So that is your role for me, and I'm glad that you readily accept it. It's not something that you have to try to be or do. You just do it. It comes natural for you. So that's a blessing.
My sister told me, I appreciate that. My baby sister tells me we getting closer, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
We had a rift,
Mm-hmm.
but we getting day by day we getting closer. By the way, if she watching this, you can thank your sister-in-law. She's going to buy my first class ticket to your 50th next in May. In May, we're going there. But she said day by day, I remind her more of our daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Day by day, and I wish I could see my daddy just one more, just to talk to him, just to,
Mm-hmm.
because all my sisters tell me this. You are daddy. That's why I put that on the bowling thing yesterday, daddy, because your mannerism just like daddy. You gotta have some shoes, clothes just like daddy. You gotta have a watch. I got the truck out there because my daddy. So they say every day. So I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I do what I do by the grace of God, and I've been told my family, and I probably didn't. Probably told your mama this. I'm not sure. Um, Anybody that comes in this house, um, if you're under this roof and something go down, you got to go through me. I'm not gonna let you walk in. I mean, shoot, beat up, fight, spit. You got to go through me. So yeah, I will take on that role. And I knew what I said when I said I do, that I was going to do that, protect you at all costs. And not just you. I got to protect the other three,
The Bambinos.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Still got to, even though they out there,
Right.
they need to know and
Parenting.
that Jay, he's the father's. But if something happened and he needs me, whether you go or not, I'm on my way.
Okay.
Janelle called me, and there got to be a need. I'm there. We got to see about Isaiah. No, I'm just joking. If he needs me, I'm on my way. So they need to know that, and I've told them that, on more than one occasion. If they need me, sick and all, I roll that IV out with me. I'm on my way.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir, for having conversation with me. I appreciate it.
It's been about 2 hours.
Whatever. Okay, so we want to thank you all for joining us as we discuss the roles of a spouse and talked a little bit about expectations as a spouse. We want you all to know that we greatly appreciate your being with us, even though you're going to probably be watching it in the playback because Mr. made me do it early, and this is the first live, so we were kind of practicing. But anyway, thank you for joining Mouth Muscle with TeamMurray. We love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday.
Next Thursday.